When you first logged into GTA Online years ago, you had the world at your fingers. Whether you started playing in 2013 or just recently in 2025, the first steps you take in Los Santos are absolutely magical. You've got locations to explore, cars to steal or save up for and buy, friends or enemies to make out on the street, and an entire business empire to aspire to. But now, that magic for you is probably completely gone. So today, we're gonna figure out why. And we're gonna see if this is something that Rockstar has done, or if it's just the natural course of a game's life cycle. But first, we have to talk about today's sponsor. Today, I want to share some exciting news about this video's sponsor, Grand RP. The Grand Roleplay project in GTA 5 is turning 4 years old. This means they've been maintaining uninterrupted server operations for 4 years, proving their reliability. During this time, they've gone through a bunch of challenges, created unique systems that aren't available on other roleplay projects, and released hundreds of major updates. And now on February 28, they're happy to announce another major update, which promises to be one of the most significant in the project's history. Be sure to join in with the links in the description to find out what new features and content it will bring. So if you haven't joined them yet, now is the perfect time to do so. Simply follow the link in the description and start playing for free today, and join a huge community of players, participate in discussions, create your own stories, and enjoy the game either with other players or your friends. And don't forget, every new player will receive tons of cool prizes and bonuses in one of the most ambitious RP projects in the world, Grand Roleplay. Grand Theft Auto Online was never meant to last 12 years. In fact, did you know that Rockstar didn't even plan to put shark cards in GTA Online until a few months before its release? Yeah, a lot of the main features of GTA Online was sort of implemented last minute. And when you think about it, this was really Rockstar's first attempt at making a live service game. And when the game first launched, this was very apparent. The glasses of nostalgia might blind you, but really there was not much to do in GTA Online at launch. You could do some contact missions, do some races with your friends, and other than that, all you could really do was drive around and rob some convenience stores or blow up some cash vans around the map. But even though there wasn't much to do, there was a certain magic to it, right? The simplicity of just jumping into a massive sandbox with your friends and getting up to whatever trouble you can find. For me, this was maybe the most fun I ever had in this game. While it was incredibly simple, this is what many players refer to as the golden age of GTA Online. Unfortunately, I'm closer to 30 than I am to 20 nowadays, but when the game first came out, one of my best memories was getting full racing lobbies with people from my school and racing all night long. We would go and talk about it the next day at school, argue about who the best was and who was the dirtiest racer out of everyone, and while those days were incredible, they were definitely short-lived. Rockstar very quickly realized that they needed ways to keep players coming back beyond just having fun with friends. There needed to be more of a progression system, an influx of new content, and slowly but surely over the years that began to happen. One of the first major updates for GTA Online came in 2015 with the Heists update. This brought 5 new heists that you could play with friends and completely revolutionized the way you make money in the game. Rockstar followed that up in the years to come, introducing multiple businesses with ways for you to make money both passively and actively, with MC businesses as well as SecuroServe crates. And for the most part, these were seen as a massive success, bringing lots of players back and giving players a refreshing new way to approach the game. But with the introduction of these 3 core ways to make money, heists, active businesses, and passive businesses, Rockstar accidentally introduced an entirely new problem that, in my opinion, they could never really overcome. With new updates comes new things to buy. New vehicles, new properties, new outfits, and at this point, GTA Online was no longer just a game where you would mess around with friends, it became a game where you had to try and make as much money as possible. Now, of course, people will rush to the comments and say that, no, you don't have to get money, lots of people do, but I don't, I just play this game for fun. Well, that's great, and I'm very happy for you, but almost all gaming analytics show that if there's no progression system and nothing to keep players coming back, they will eventually stop playing that game, which is why Rockstar went down the route of trying to get players to want to make as much money as they can. And I'm not blaming Rockstar for that. Instead, I'd rather look at how Rockstar encourages players to make money and how that slowly but surely sucked all of the life out of the game for a lot of players. Let's go back to that discussion before. At this point, around 2016, there were 3 ways to make money: heists, active businesses, and passive businesses. From 2013 to 2016, Rockstar introduced all three of these ways to make money when previously we had none. As we progress through the years, 2017, 2018, we get businesses like the nightclub and the bunker. We get new heists like the Doomsday heists. In some ways, these are new, really exciting activities. We get to start up our own illegal gun running operation. We get to run our own legitimate nightclub or illegal underground basement. Hell, we get to save the world in the Doomsday heists. Something that I thought would never happen when the game first started, but upon closer inspection, how new is this content really? Let's dive a little bit deeper on that. How much different is the bunker from your MC businesses that released a year or two earlier? How different is the structure of these 3 Doomsday heists compared to the 5 original heists that were added 3 years before that? See, if we actually look at new gameplay systems that have been introduced, Rockstar introduced all of these new ways to make money in the game between 2013 and 2016. But if you look at the game between 2016 and 2018, while we did get a lot of new content, it's the exact same type of content as before, just inside of a different property with a bit of a different coat of paint. So that was 2018. Now let's move into what I personally think could have been the second golden age of GTA Online, and that's the period between 2019 and 2021. In this period, we got the Diamond Casino and Resort update, the Diamond Casino heist, Los Santos Summer Special, which we won't talk about, as well as the Cayo Perico heist, Los Santos Tuners, and the Contract DLCs, all within that 3-year period. During this period, GTA Online actually hit a new all-time high for concurrent players. And while yes, a lot of this was due to the lockdowns, as well as Rockstar making the game free for Epic Games for a little while, along with the Alien Wars, there's actually a few things going on at a deeper level here that brought these players back to the game and helped it set new records. And this started with the Diamond Casino and Resort DLC. We got some new story missions in this update, not too big of a deal, but this was the first time that we actually got a map change in GTA Online. A map that had been getting stale for about 6 years at that point now had a breath of life added to it with the casino. But not only the casino's aesthetics itself, but actually being able to interact with it. For the first time in a couple of years, Rockstar had introduced a new way to make money in the game. You now had heists, you had active businesses, passive businesses, and gambling. That's right. While we can laugh and joke about how silly that is, in reality, it is a new gameplay system that was added. Fast forward to the end of the year, we get the Diamond Casino Heist DLC. And again, in this heist, while yes, it is still a heist, we see Rockstar actually experimenting with new gameplay systems here. 3 different approaches for the Diamond Casino heist, adding a ton of replayability to this content, as well as allowing players to do optional setup missions that can completely change the way the heist plays. The reason people love this heist so much, even in 2025, is because it took a content formula that was getting extremely stale and actually changed it up and made it interesting again. Moving into 2020, Rockstar again evolved this formula with the Cayo Perico heist DLC, taking what worked with the casino heist and taking it to yet another level. This time you have an entire island to explore, and you can approach or escape the island in any way you see fit. Using different combinations of entrances and exits and disguises, different weapons, there's well over 10 to 20 different ways that you can approach this heist, yet again adding a ton of replayability. But with this DLC, it wasn't just the new gameplay systems that made it interesting, it was the fact that this is the first new location we ever got in GTA Online, apart from just being in Los Santos. Yet again, giving players an entirely new way to interact with GTA Online. Then we move into 2021, and Rockstar releases the LS Tuners DLC. In this DLC, we get an auto shop that lets us start up 8 mini heists known as contracts. These contracts have setup missions and finales just like heists, however they don't really have the replayability of something like a heist because there's only one approach to each of them. But the thing is, Rockstar added 8. Also in this DLC, we got the LS Car Meet, adding yet another entirely new interior for players to explore and mess around with. Moving to the end of 2021, we got the Contract DLC, introducing another new property with the agency, as well as a new contract that, just like with the auto shop contracts, has the same kind of structure as a heist without all of the other different approaches. So it's the end of 2021 and Rockstar has actually introduced new gameplay systems over the past couple years. We no longer just have active and passive businesses as well as heists. Now we also have a casino, we have contracts, and we have an entirely new type of heist with the casino and Cayo Perico heists where you can play them however you want. During that 3-year period, Rockstar was more creative than ever before, and really gave us new ways to play the game. But let's move into 2022 to 2025, the modern era of GTA Online. Over this period, we've got DLCs like the Los Santos Drug Wars DLC, the Criminal Enterprises update, San Andreas Mercenaries update. In these DLCs, all we got were new contact missions as well as one new passive business with the Acid Lab that works the exact same way as the businesses that were introduced 6 or 7 years before it. At the end of 2023, we got the Chop Shop DLC, which adds the salvage yard, and while this is a cool concept for a business, unfortunately the way you make money with it is just by completing these car robberies, which aren't bad, don't get me wrong, but they follow the exact same structure as something like the auto shop contracts that came years before it. A couple of setup missions and a finale. Then we move into 2024. In the middle of the year, we got the Bottom Dollar Bounties business, a new active business that was added to the game, but really, this has the exact same structure as something like the Vehicle Warehouse or the CEO crates that were added years before it. At the end of the year, we got the Agents of Sabotage DLC, where we get access to the Darnell Brothers Garment Factory and some new FIB file missions. However, yet again, these missions have the exact same structure as the missions that came out with the Tuners update in 2021. We're at a point now with GTA Online where Rockstar now hasn't introduced a new location since the Cayo Perico heist way back in 2020, and they haven't introduced any new gameplay systems in terms of businesses or real money-making methods since 2020 or 2021. Now, you could argue that Rockstar actually did add a few new ways to make money that add new mechanics, things like animal photography, taxi work, and the tow truck missions in the salvage yard. However, these are just reskinned features from single player, which sadly just kind of proves the point even more, that Rockstar isn't really interested in adding new gameplay mechanics or evolving the GTA Online formula at this point. Their content strategy has more so turned to bringing back older features and rehashing the same stuff, and we really just have to assume that this is because there's not many people working on GTA Online anymore. The type of content we've got in GTA Online over the past half a decade now has really just been rinsing and repeating what worked for Rockstar in the past without really adding anything new. And when you're playing the exact same type of content over and over again, just with a different coat of paint, it will inevitably get very boring, and that magic and fun that you used to have in the game will fade. I can already hear the comments though, but TGG, they're working on GTA 6. What else can you expect? Hey man, I totally get it. I do. And in all honesty, I'm really happy that Rockstar is prioritizing GTA 6 over GTA 5 Online. However, that doesn't make everything I've said in this video untrue. To sum up, the magic of GTA Online for most players has started to fade. The game doesn't have the creativity it once used to. Where we used to get creative new updates that introduced new ways to play the game, over the past 4 or 5 years, the updates for GTA Online have started to fall into the same repetitive cycle. And going forward, my only hope for GTA 6 Online is that Rockstar doesn't do the same. I hope that Rockstar has a plan in place to ensure that we get refreshing new types of content, not just new content, but new types of content throughout that game's lifecycle. And honestly, I have no doubt that they'll absolutely nail it. If you enjoyed, leave a thumbs up, subscribe for more stuff like this, and I'll see you in the next video. Boys